I'm Thereza ALVES, and this work is called Unrejected Wild Flora. And I had received as a gift earth from Vesuvius in Italy, which is very rich, and I planted it in pots and waiting to see what would grow up. And in the meantime, I went traveling, and the person that was caring for my house decided that they were weeds and cut them all up and threw them on a pile on a terrace. And I arrived home and there were no more plants. They had been very high. They had been growing for 2 or 3 months. And the soil is very rich, so I had many different plants growing. I was interested in the history of the place, what plants would come up, because the history of Vesuvius is centuries old and thousands of years old. And so then I kept thinking, what had happened that this person decided it was okay to kill these plants? And obviously it was a cultural education, a Western cultural education that decided that plants were lesser and that there were hierarchies in plants also. There were plants that were good plants and plants that were weed plants. And this other being could define those parameters. Which is a certain way of looking at the world, which is very new actually in Western culture. They would like to think it's very ancient, but it isn't. It's been a process to undo the idea of the environment and all of us participating in the environment and creating this binary of human nature. That's been a process that has been very programmed within the Western discourse. So then I took the bunches of plants that were drying and I put paint on them and started to paint with them, dance with them and the paper, and trying to see if I could create a situation wherein there could be a thought of another way of being with plants that did not have this binary of human nature and would not create categories of hierarchy.